It feels like most of us are just getting the hang of 5G, right? But believe it or not, the race for what comes next is already well underway. It's called 6G. So what exactly is this next generation of wireless, and how is it about to change, well, pretty much everything?
So first, let's just try to get a sense of the scale here. The jump from 5G to 6G, it's not a small step, it's an absolutely massive leap. We are going from speeds we measure in gigabits per second to terabits per second. I mean, to put that into perspective for you, that's potentially 1,000 times faster. Wild.
But of course, it's about so much more than just raw speed. So what is 6G really? What's at its core? Let's break it down.
Okay, so officially, 6G stands for the sixth generation of mobile communication systems. It's the next logical and, frankly, revolutionary step in how we connect with the world and with each other, completely wirelessly.
And listen, this isn't some far-off science fiction dream. While 5G is definitely still being rolled out across the globe, the groundwork, the research for 6G is happening right now, with deployment expected to start sometime around 2030.
The whole ambition for 6G is really built on three core pillars. Yeah, one of them is that incredible speed we talked about. But just as important is getting to near zero latency. That means virtually no lag or delay. And maybe most importantly, creating networks that are actually intelligent and can manage themselves.
Which, brings us to the big question. How is any of this even possible? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine of 6G, these incredible core technologies that are going to make this future a reality. So 6G is really built on 4 foundational technologies. Now, each one is a breakthrough in its own right, but when you put them together, that's when you get a platform for a totally new kind of connection.
First up, we've got terahertz communication. Okay, the easiest way to think about this is to imagine our current radio frequencies are kind of like busy city streets. Terahertz waves, or THZ, that's like opening up a brand new, perfectly smooth, 100-lane superhighway just for data. It's this whole new spectrum that unlocks those mind-blowing speeds.
The second pillar is AI-driven networks. This is where the network itself stops being just a passive system of pipes and actually gets a brain. It'll use AI to manage all its resources, to optimize the flow of data, and even predict and fix problems before we would ever notice something was wrong. Next up, something called Reconfigurable Intelligent Surfaces, or RIS. We all know that frustration of a signal dead zone, right? Well, RIS tech basically turns everyday surfaces, like the walls in your house or the windows in an office, into smart mirrors. They can actively steer the wireless signals around, essentially getting rid of dead spots and just bathing the entire environment in a perfect connection.
And this fourth pillar, well, this one might be the most revolutionary of all: integrated sensing and communication. The idea here is that the network doesn't just connect our devices anymore. The communication signals themselves can be used to sense, to map, and to understand the physical world around us with incredible accuracy. The network literally becomes a giant sensor.
Okay, so we've got this unbelievably powerful technology, but what does it actually mean for us? What does it let us do? Let's take a quick look into what a 6G-powered world might actually feel like.
What if your video calls weren't just flat pictures on a screen, but were actually lifelike 3D holographic projections of your family and coworkers, right there in the room with you? The huge bandwidth and near zero latency of 6G could make this a part of our daily lives. Or, think about this. What if the world's absolute best surgeon could perform a life-saving operation on a patient halfway around the world using a super precise robot? 6G's near-zero latency would mean the surgeon's movements are translated instantly with no delay you could possibly notice, making remote surgery not just possible, but safe and accessible. All right, let's zoom out to the scale of a whole city. What if our cities could work like a single intelligent organism? With 6G, a city could manage its own traffic flow in real time. To completely get rid of congestion, it could optimize its energy grid second by second and respond instantly to any emergency. And finally, what if truly immersive extended reality, or XR, became a seamless part of our world? And I don't just mean for gaming. I mean for learning, for working together, for experiencing digital information layered right on top of our physical reality. This needs a network that is both incredibly fast and unbelievably responsive, which is exactly what 6G is designed to be.
Now, all of this sounds absolutely incredible, but let's pump the brakes for a second and bring this back down to earth. We're not there yet. So let's talk about the actual road to 6G, the very real challenges we have to face, and ultimately why it's so important that we overcome them.
Because this future, it's not a given. The hurdles are huge. We're talking about extremely high costs, the need for completely new types of hardware that can handle these frequencies, massive energy consumption problems, and basically building a whole new layer of infrastructure from the ground up.
But the reason the world's top minds are working so hard on these issues is because the payoff could literally alter society. 6G matters. It's the platform that will enable technologies we can't even fully imagine yet. And it's what will support that deep, seamless integration of AI and sensing right into the fabric of our lives.
So ultimately, 6G promises to fuse our digital and our physical worlds in a way that will completely redefine reality itself. And that really leaves us with one last big thought. The question is no longer if this is all going to happen, but how we're going to choose to build and shape this extraordinary new world.